program of providence that was drawn up a long time ago. It came in as a sort of brief interlude and solo between more extensive performances. I take it that this part of the bill must have run something like this. Grand contested election for the presidency of the United States. Whaling voyage by one Ishmael. Bloody battle in Afghanistan. Though I cannot tell why it was exactly that those stage managers, the Fates, put me down for this shabby part of a whaling voyage, when others were set down for magnificent parts in high tragedies, and short and easy parts in genteel comedies, and jolly parts in farces. Though I cannot tell why this was exactly. Yet now that I recall all the circumstances, I think I can see a little into the springs and motives which, being cunningly presented to me under various disguises, induced me to set about performing the part I did, besides cajoling me into the delusion that it was a choice resulting from my own unbiased free will and discriminating judgment. Chief among these motives was the overwhelming idea of the great whale himself. Such a portentous and mysterious monster roused all my curiosity. Then the wild and distant seas where he rolled his island bulk, the undeliverable, nameless perils of the whale. These, with all the attending marvels of 1,000 Patagonian sights and sounds, helped to sway me to my wish. With other men, perhaps, such things would not have been inducements. But as for me, I am tormented with an everlasting itch for things remote. I love to sail forbidden seas and land on barbarous coasts. Not ignoring what is good, I am quick to perceive a horror, and could still be social with it, would they let me, since it is but well to be on friendly terms with all the inmates of the place one lodges in. By reason of these things, then, the whaling voyage was welcome. The great floodgates of the world swung open, and in the wild conceits that swayed me to my purpose, two and two there floated into my inmost soul endless processions of the whale, and, midmost of them all, one grand hooded phantom, like a snow hill in the air. Now, it being Christmas when the ship shot from outer harbor, for a space we had biting polar weather, though all the time running away from it to the southward. And by every degree and minute of latitude which we sailed, leaving that merciless winter and all its intolerable weather behind us. It was one of those less lowering, but still gray and gloomy enough mornings of the transition, when with a fair wind the ship was rushing through the water with a vindictive sort of leaping and melancholy rapidity, and as I mounted to the deck at the call of the forenoon watch, so soon as I leveled my glance toward the taffrails, foreboding shivers ran over me. Reality outran apprehension. Captain Ahab stood upon his quarterdeck. There seemed no sign of common bodily illness about him, nor of the recovery from any. He looked like a man cut away from the stake, when the fire has overrunningly wasted all the limbs without consuming them, nor taking away one particle from their compacted, aged robustness. His whole high, broad form seemed made of solid bronze. and shaped in an unalterable mold, like Cellini's cast Perseus, threading its way out from among his gray hairs and continuing right down one side of his tawny, scorched face and neck till it disappeared in his clothing. You saw a slender, rod-like mark, lividly whitish. It resembled that perpendicular seam sometimes made in the straight and lofty trunk of a great tree, when the upper lightning tearingly darts down it, and without wrenching a single twig, peels and grooves out the bark from top to bottom, ere running off into the soil, leaving the tree still greenly alive, but branded. Whether that mark was born with him, or whether it was a scar left by some desperate wound, no one could certainly say. So powerfully did the whole grim aspect of Ahab affect me, and the livid brand which streaked it, that for the first few moments I hardly noted that not a little of this overbearing grimness was owing to the barbaric white leg upon which he partly stood. It had previously come to me that this ivory leg had at sea been fashioned from the polished bone of the sperm whale's jaw. Aye, he was dismasted off Japan, but like his dismasted craft, he shipped another mast without coming home for it. He had a quiver of them. I was struck with the singular posture he maintained. Upon each side of the Pequod's deck, and pretty close to the mizzen shrouds, there was an auger hole bored about a half an inch or so into the plank. His bone leg steadied in that hole, and one arm elevated and holding by a shroud. Captain Ahab stood erect, looking straight out beyond the ship's ever-pitching prow. There was an infinity of firmest fortitude, a determinate, unsurrenderable willfulness in the fixed and fearless forward dedication of that glance. Not a word he spoke, nor did his officers say aught to him, though by all their minutest gestures and expressions, they plainly showed the uneasy, if not painful consciousness of being under a troubled master eye. And not only that, but moody, stricken Ahab stood before them with a crucifixion in his face, in all the nameless, regal, overbearing dignity of some mighty woe. Send everybody aft. Mastheads there! Come down. What do you do when you see a whale, men?
Sing fire!
And what next, men?
Lower away and after him!
And what tune is it you pull to, men?
A dead whale on a stove boat!
Do you see this Spanish ounce of gold? It is a $16 piece, men. A doubloon. Do you see it? Whosoever of ye raises me a white-headed whale with a wrinkled brow and a crooked jaw, whosoever of ye raises me that white whale with 3 holes punctured in his starboard fluke, look ya! Whosoever of ye raises me that same white whale, he shall have this gold ounce, my boys. It's a white whale, I say. A white whale, Skin your eyes for him. Look sharp for white water. If you see but a bubble, sing out.
Is that white whale some call Moby Dick?
Death and devils, it is Moby Dick.
Was it not Moby Dick that took off thy leg?
Aye, aye. It was Moby Dick that dismasted me. Moby Dick that brought me to this dead stump I stand on now. Aye, aye. It was that accursed white whale that razzed me, made a poor pegging lubber of me forever and a day. And I'll chase him round Good Hope, and round the Horn, and round the Norway maelstrom, and round perdition's flames before I give him up. And this is what ye have shipped for, men, to chase that white whale on both sides of land and over all sides of earth, till he spouts black blood and rolls fin out. What say ye, men? Will ye splice hands on it now? I think ye do look brave.
How many barrels of oil will thy vengeance yield in our Nantucket market, Captain Ahab?
Nantucket market, hoot! If money's to be the measurer, men, and the accountants have computed their great counting houses the globe, by girdling it with guineas 1 to every 3 parts of an inch, then let me tell thee that my vengeance will fetch a great premium here.
Vengeance on a dumb brute that simply smote thee from blindest instinct seems blasphemous, Captain Ahab.
Talk not to me of blasphemy, men. I'd strike the sun if it insulted me. Death to Moby Dick! May God hunt us all if we do not hunt Moby Dick to his death!